and welcome back to Spiral Path Arts. I am Beth, and this is 31 Days of Samhain, and I'm so glad to have you here back in my witch's kitchen. Today we're going to work with herbs, and I'm going to share with you how and why you might want to include herbal infusions into your daily practice, in your daily diet. So what is an herbal infusion? It is kind of like a tea, and some herbalists may call it a tea, but what it is, what makes it different from a tea or a tisane is, one, the quantity of herbs, dried herbs or plant material that you use, the concentration, and the time that it steeps, how long it steeps. It is much stronger and richer than a cup of tea. Now, why would you use an herbal infusion? Well, an herbal infusion, well, think of it this way. Your body is made up of mostly water. Thinker, get off my counters. Plants are made up of mostly water. And so it is the easiest way for us to extract the nutrients and all the herbal goodness from the plant using hot water. And it's the easiest way for our bodies to take those nutrients in, is through a water-based concoction. Also, it's easy. Everybody pretty much, I would hope, has clean drinking water available to them, anybody who's watching this video at least. And the herbs are, dried herbs in bulk are fairly readily available and to either and or easy to grow your own, depending, or forage your own, depending on where you live and things like that. How do I prepare my herbal infusions? Well, there's a couple different ways, but the easiest way and the simplest way is to just use a quart canning jar. I like to use my canning funnel just to get them in there without it going all over. And at least while you're beginning, have some kitchen scale or a postal scale to weigh out your herbs. After you've done it for a while, you might be able to eyeball or just kind of use a rough estimate, guesstimate on how much herbs you're using. But for all the herbs that I'm going to show you today, the combination, the ratio is 1 ounce or 30 grams of dried herb to a quart of boiling water poured over. And then you simply mix it up, put a tight lid on it, and let it sit. And typically 4 to 8 hours for dried leaves, herbs. Roots and berries and things like that might take a little less time, but today what we're talking about, these are all dried leaf of the plant, or leaf and stems, the aerial parts as they're called, the parts, the green parts that grow above the ground. So for that, we're using 1 ounce in a quart jar, and then you just let it sit. I like to do them in an ideal world. When I have my act together, I will make a quart before I go to bed at night. So quite often I will drink a herbal tea before bed, something calming and soothing and help me sleep. And while I've got that hot water going, I will make my infusion the night before, let it sit on the kitchen counter while I sleep. And in the morning, I can strain it. And depending on what it is, if I want to drink it cold, stick it in the refrigerator, or just drink it that way. That's another way that it's slightly different from a tea that you would brew in a small, by the cup with a tea bag or in a small teapot. You would typically drink those hot. Most herbal infusions I drink cold, or at least room temperature. Okay, so let's get into the different herbs that I like to use and why and what their benefits are. My number one first choice for an herbal infusion is nettle leaf, stinging nettle. And let me just tell you that stinging nettle doesn't sting once it is dried. It doesn't sting once it is steamed and cooked. And it is a powerhouse of really good nutrients, minerals, vitamins, all kinds of really good energetics in nettle leaf. It has a full spectrum of vitamins and minerals, and especially iron and calcium, which are two things that women need. I have in the past been a little bit anemic. And of course, as I'm getting older, having bioavailable calcium for strong bones, don't drink whole milk anymore like I did as a kid, don't really eat as much dairy as I did as a kid. And to be quite honest, you're getting better calcium, more available to your body through nettle leaf than you would from drinking a glass of milk. It also has some antihistamine properties. So if you suffer from hay fever and seasonal allergies in either the spring or the fall, a daily cup or two of nettle infusions can help with that as well. And also, my number one reason for using it is it just helps to kind of rebuild my energy. If I'm going through a stressful time, like when I was moving and working, dog walking and pet sitting, 12, 15-hour days, and all these things, life stresses, having nettle leaf every day really helped kind of reinvigorate and rejuvenate my whole system and re-energize me. It also plant energetically. If you think of what a stinging nettle, if you've ever gotten yourself into a nettle patch, you know you got yourself into a nettle patch. This is not poison ivy, blisters, and itching. This is stinging. Calling it stinging nettle is very, very, very apt because it stings. Old wives' tales say to take a clump of stinging nettle and hit your arthritic joints, and the stings from the nettle will help increase circulation in that area and help with the inflammation of arthritic joints. And yeah, there's lots of old wives' tales and things using stinging nettle. If you get the little shoots of nettle in the springtime when they're just coming up, nettle soups and steamed nettle greens, one of the best spring tonics that you can give yourself. But year-round, dried nettle in a tea. Also, you could add a little dried nettle to your winter soups, your stews, and your things like that. Adds a little extra. Anything that you would maybe add kale or spinach to, add a little dried nettle to it, and you're increasing your nutritional value there as well. Another reason that I love nettle is because it helps to strengthen the adrenals and the kidneys. And I have a history of kidney stones. Even if it doesn't help prevent the kidney stones, after you've had a kidney stone, and if you've ever passed a kidney stone, you know what I'm talking about. There's got to be some damage done in there when that puppy comes through. So help to improve the health of your urinary tract and your kidneys and your adrenals. Adrenal fatigue is a real thing. A lot of people suffer from it. Nettle can really help with all those things. It's kind of my go-to. Always have a big jar of nettles on hand. My second herb of choice for herbal infusions is oat straw. This one doesn't have a label, but that's what's in here. I just refilled it today. And oat straw is just what you think of. Let me get up close here so you can see it in the jar. You see, it is the leafy stems and leaves of the oat plant. I noticed in here when I was filling this, there are a few of the actual oat seeds in here as well, and that's always additionally good. And so for a dried tea or infusion, oat straw is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful ally. It is very soothing and nourishing. Think about like using oatmeal in your bath on a sunburn or itchy skin or dried skin. That's what oats do. That is one of their energy signatures. It's very soothing, very nourishing, very calming. It's a nervine, so it helps to soothe your nervous system and also helps to kind of juice up your endocrine system as well. It can help to ease spasms and inflammation, so throughout your entire body. So again, if I'm having, any type of inflammation in my body, an oat bath and or some oat straw infusion tea is really, really helpful to that. And I'm going to read a paragraph from Susan Weed from her book, Wise Woman Herbal, about oat straw, because she said it very well, and rather than try to put it in my own words, I'm just going to share with you her words. Consistent use of oats and oat straw in the diet usually brings about noticeable improvements in coordination, bone density, length of attention span, balance, memory, sensitivity to pleasant stimuli, clarity of thinking, the ability to perceive connections and remedy misconnections, ease of achieving a meditative and conscious dream state, and overall calmness and centeredness. Now, doesn't that sound like something we all could use a little bit more of in our lives? So have that cup of oatmeal in the morning, have yourself some oat straw, and really reap the benefits. And on the breakfast cereal type of topic about oats, we all know the famous round O-shaped oat cereal. And they had a big thing a number of years ago about how oats and their brand of oat cereal, ODOs, that bring you cheer, you know where I'm going with that, right? That it can really help your heart health. I don't know about the cereal itself, how much bioavailability in all that processing that it would go through to get into that cardboard box, but this way of consuming oats and or a nice bowl of oat porridge can help to really lower the cholesterol in your blood and strengthen all your cardiovascular vessels and rebuild your heart muscles and your circulatory vessels, and can help to ease any heart spasms or palpitations. So if you're one that, has a family history of heart disease and heart issues and high cholesterol, then adding oats on a regular basis can be very, very beneficial to you. Oat straw also has a fairly high level of silica. So a cup of oat straw tea with a pinch of horsetail adds extra silica, and that can really help for growing your hair and your nails and your connective tissues in strong density, increase the density of your bones as well. Again, also a really good source of calcium. We're getting things that we've been taught growing up that you had to get from plants or from animals and animal products like milk and dairy. They're all bioavailable in plants, in herbs. The more you know. Ta-da! Okay, our final of my 3 favorite herbs that I try to use every day, not every day, but try to use regularly. Third and final herb is chickweed. And the dried chickweed is not going to show what this plant looks like. And I will try to find an image and insert it here of what chickweed looks like in your yard or your garden, because you probably have chickweed growing near you. Probably not year round. We had a little rain the last couple days. It's cooled off. There's a possibility I might be seeing some more chickweed out and around my house in the next few weeks. It likes cool, damp weather. So it's one of those spring herbs that you find, again, a good spring tonic. You find it fresh. You can eat it just out of your lawn. If you don't spray your lawn and dogs don't use your lawn as a toilet, you can eat wild chickweed, foraged chickweed. It's a good spring tonic. Why do I love chickweed? Well, one, I kind of like the name. It's a weed for chicks. But chickweed is a very nourishing, strengthening food as well. Can you kind of sense a theme here? Chickweed is very cooling. So if you tend to run hot or you have moments of increased body temperature, and if you're a woman in your middle ages, your middle years, you probably have experienced an elevated body temperature from time to time. Chickweed can help to moderate that a little bit. Chickweed is, in general, very good for the entire female reproductive system from puberty on through menopause. I had a history of ovarian cysts and endometriosis. I wish I knew chickweed back then, because she can really, really help with helping over time to minimize cysts. It can work on other cysts as well. If you tend to have other cyst-type cystic acne and things like that, try chickweed, but she's gentle. She's not going to come in like Accutane or Lupron or something like that, these really strong medicines that come in and dry things up and, really get in there. It's much more gentle. You got to use her over time, but she is very effective. One of the reasons she's very effective is she has natural, I'm going to probably butcher this pronunciation, saponins, I believe is how it's pronounced, which if you have ever made soap, it is saponification is the process of breaking down fats, turning fats into soap so that they're water soluble, that they can be washed away. And there is natural saponins in chickweed. So it's said that it can also help to break down fats in the body. And it does, well, speaking of it being Samhain season and the thinning of the veil, I kind of look at chickweed in that way, that she can thin the membranes of certain cells, like virus cells, fat cells, and get in there and do the work, kind of break that barrier, walk through that veil, walk through that barrier between one thing and the next. And let's see, what else do I have in my notes? So yes, she thins the cellular membranes so that your nutrients can be absorbed and utilized to their maximum. So, adding really boosts your nutrition. It is a powerful nourisher to your glandular and your lymphatic system. So she's really good. And another reason that I like her in the spring. I find her fresh a lot in the spring and add her to salads and things like that. But also keeping her around throughout the year, she is great for your lung health. Your lungs love her because she can help to moisten those bronchial tissues in there, and she also can help act as an expectorant as well. So if you've got gunky lungs from a lung infection, you can take, again, 1 cup isn't going to do it, but over time and consistent, regular use of strong infusions can really be beneficial in that way. And as I said before, she is very cooling and soothing. So if you've got a hot, dry cough, if you've got a hot, dry fever, that kind of thing, chickweed can help with that. So now let me show you how to go about making a herbal infusion. And I think today since I already have some nettle infusion in my refrigerator that I'm going to drink here this afternoon, that I'm going to make oat straw today. I am feeling some need of oat straw. So let me get my water hot again. She's pretty hot. And we will show you how to go about making an herbal infusion. So as I mentioned before, probably when you're first starting out making these, using some kind of kitchen scale, just to kind of get an idea of how much an ounce of each herb is a good way to start. If you don't have a kitchen scale, 1 cup of dried herbs to a quart of water is a good ballpark to go with. So I have my kitchen scale here. I've got my empty jar with my funnel on it so that when it starts up here, it will be zeroed out, and it's zeroed out to 1 ounce. Or I'm sorry, it's set for measuring ounces. I'm sorry. So I'm just going to begin. You can use a measuring cup if you want. So just 1/2 ounce. Yeah, we'll probably be as precise as your particular neurodivergence requires you to be. Mine is pretty good with close enough on this type of thing. And then I'm just going to take it off the scale. I don't need to weigh the water or anything like that. But here, we can now see approximately where our 1 ounce line is. So it is at about the 8 ounce line if you have these kind of, which is 1 cup. So like I said, 1 cup is a really good, basic, general guideline. So now we have our herb in here, and we're just going to top this off with hot boiling water. Now you should take a chopstick. And then you want to cap it off. You want to top it because there are a lot of volatile nutrients, vitamins and things like that that can escape. So capping your jar helps keep all of that in there. And I'm going to let this sit on my counter all day. I might strain it before bed tonight, put it in the refrigerator. The thing with any herbal concoction made with a tea or an infusion with water is that it doesn't have a lot of shelf life. Your dried herbs have a long shelf life. They will, as long as you keep them in a cool, dark place, they will stay, and they're airtight, sealed up. They'll stay fresh for quite a while and still viable and good. But once you mix it with the hot water, you really want to consume it within the 24 hours or so. You can, and I always refrigerate. I mean, I don't refrigerate it at this point. I let it sit hot for 4 to 8 hours on my kitchen counter. And then if I'm not going to drink it immediately at that point, then I will strain it and put it in the refrigerator and drink it later that day. But I don't make up like 5 jars of herbal infusion for the week or use the half-gallon jars and drink from them for the week. You might be able to, but I just feel like the strength of it can lessen over time. And also, I have had some fermented oat straw infusion by accident once or twice where I just let it sit too long and it kind of started to get a little funky and fermented. So there you go. Let me know if you like to drink herbal infusions and what your favorite ones are, or if you're thinking about trying any one of these. If I had to pick one, it would probably be nettles, but oat straw is a close second. And this is just the beginning. There are many other herbs that can be used in this way. Do your research, and this is not medical advice. This is herbal food that has medicinal value, health strengthening value. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video and you learned a little bit more about some kitchen witchery using herbs for health and sustenance and just improving our overall well-being and getting to know these plants a little bit better. If you're interested in becoming even just a amateur part-time herbalist like myself, this is a great way to get started. You don't need to get all up in the world of tinctures and oils and all those things. Just start with a simple herbal infusion a couple days a week, and you will, I guarantee it, notice a difference in your well-being, in your health, in your energy levels, in the way your body feels. Report back to me if you do try this. Let me know how it works for you. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Appreciate you stopping in today. And we have a few more days. So I think, well, as I record this, I personally have just passed the halfway point of my month and of making my videos for this month. So I'm going to need more nettles to keep me going through the 31st, but I know she's there to help me out, as are some of the other things that I have shared with you already this month that have re-sparked my joy and my commitment to this path and this practice that I have been on. And like I said, I believe in my introduction that for me, Samhain, and for many people who follow a similar path, fall, autumn in the Northern Hemisphere, Samhain is our new year. It feels much more like a new year now than it does in the beginning of January. And one of the things that many of us do at the new year, no matter when we celebrate it, is to set new intentions and new resolutions for bringing old practices back into our life, breaking bad habits, starting new, healthier habits. So one of my resolutions for my new year is to get back into my practice of enjoying and using herbal infusions on a regular basis, because I know in the past, when I have, it has improved my overall well-being in my life. And I have already started adding some other intentions and resolutions into my day over the last few weeks, and I'm seeing benefits from that as well. So when we do my end of the month wrap up, please come back for that. I don't know if that'll be on the 31st or it'll be the 1st. Maybe we get 32 days of Samhain. I'm not sure. But I will do a wrap up of all the things that I have learned and experienced over this 31 days and come back and wrap it all up with you. And we'll talk about some of those things then. But anyhow, I've gone off on a tangent, as I tend to do. But thanks for sticking with me. All of you new subscribers, I'm so glad you found me, and I hope you stick around and come back. All you old timers that have been with me and watched the progress as hopefully it's been progress. Thank you for continuing to come back. I really appreciate our connection and our community here. And I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Peace out, witches. Love you. Bye.